her principles, her political values, and somehow is reviled by the national media. Forget the left and the Democratic Party. What is so threatening about this woman, and why aren't there more stories about why? Why does Governor Palin threaten so many?
Because she's right.
Well, I just want to see the New York Times and the Washington Post and CBS News, ABC. What was that? ABC, CBS, NBC. I want to see them do specials on why is she so threatening. I really think that would be enlightening. I also think it would be interesting for the national media to focus on why they don't use the appellation and the honorable title governor before her name when they do so with every man I have seen them report on. So I think women are going to play a very big role in both determining, obviously, who the candidate is, determining which candidate wins, and I think it's going to be a significant contribution. It could, in fact, be history-making.
Why have, and this is from Bill in Boca Raton, why have the news people ignored the World Care Health Plan that has been proposed, and why have they not reported on the billions of dollars being taken from Medicare?
Well, the billions, it's hundreds of billions being stripped from Medicare. You know, I'm not going to stand here and be either rationalize the national liberal media nor be its apologist. I cannot for the life of me understand, I can't begin to quite comprehend why we put through Obamacare, it becomes law, and suddenly the national media, just about a month later, in some cases a week to a month later, start reporting that indeed, it was a misrepresentation to suggest you could keep your insurance company. It was a misrepresentation to suggest that premiums were going to go down rather than up. It was a misrepresentation to suggest that health care in America would decline as a result of Obamacare, when in fact it will move from 17% of GDP currently to 21% in the next decade. 21%. And that only costs you $1 trillion a year if the low-cost estimates are correct. Just $1 trillion a year. Folks, within Obamacare are 15,000 new calls for requirements for 15,000 new IRS agents. Form 1099s for every expenditure. Over $600 that you have to report. Nancy Pelosi said, let's pass it and then you'll find out what's in it. Why the hell isn't anybody asking this question of the national media? Why are people not demanding a better performance? And I don't care whether it's your local newspaper or it is the New York Times. There should be an absolute urgency about intelligent, principled reporting in which Ted Koppel wins the argument over Keith Olbermann.
I love it. Pamela in Delray Beach would like to know, how do you think the lame duck Congress will act? I know you touched upon that in your opening statement, but I think she's looking for specifics.
Can you try that again, George? I'm sorry.
Okay. How do you think the lame duck Congress will act? What are the things that you're most concerned about?
I'm most concerned that this lame duck session will do anything. In all seriousness, this Congress needs to just shut it down and go home. Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid are the two most disastrous leaders of their party. Frankly, that doesn't bother me half as much as they are running the government. And what we don't want is a disaster for this country. We're watching, lots of suggestions coming that whether it's the DREAM Act, any number of issues. They really do, and I mean this in all sincerity. Give everybody a vacation, take them home. And I'm starting to believe that we had it right in the earliest century of this country. Let's make it seasonal. Congress can only be in session for, say, the summer. I'm not entirely kidding about that. I think that there's, one of the reasons I think they spend so much money is they sit around and they need to feel important, so the bigger the budget, the more important they are, the more they spend. And the more they stay in Washington, the less they see the consequence of what they've done. You and I feel it, we live it, and our fellow citizens. But we need to get this government and our elected officials back in touch with the people. And I think the best way to do that is make sure that we're staying in touch with them, if you get my meaning.
Kind of a follow-up question from John in Sunrise. What do you think about term limits?
I hate them. I hate them. I know you're going to applaud this. If this country can produce an electorate, a citizenry, that has the energy and the sense of individual responsibility and obligation to this nation to get off its duff collectively and go to the polls and turn out those fools who deserve to be thrown out and elect and put in office those who deserve to lead this nation, then we don't deserve this democratic constitutional republic. And it's that simple, in my opinion.
That's what elections are.
I'm sorry?
Elections are term limits. All right, from Joe in Tamarack. Since the PLO has been designated a terrorist organization per the Anti-Terrorism Act of 1987, signed into law by President Reagan, do you believe that President Obama should have the right to sign a waiver against this law? And I'm not sure. Something about benefiting the PLO.
You know, the answer to that is within the bounds of executive privilege. Obviously, he's entitled to do whatever he wishes, but there will be political consequences. More frustrating to me is that we are talking about a conflict, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, that has gone unresolved for 62 years from the founding of the State of Israel. I've watched more Nobel Peace Prizes be awarded to presidents, to whomever.
Terrorists?
Well, I mean, not just terrorists. I mean,
Anybody.
Israeli prime ministers, you go through the line. It's just, it's maddening to think in 62 years of a lot of talk about a peace process. I'm not a fan of process. There isn't a person in this room who does not know what is required to establish a solution to the conflict in Israel. Not a person. The Palestinians deserve a state. Israel deserves a state. Okay, I take that back. Not every person in this room. But what Israel deserves is the full, unbridled support as the only democracy in the Middle East that has been there for 62 years. I will not pander to Arabs, to Palestinians, or to Israelis, or to Jews. I am telling you that the loss of blood and treasure in that region is inexcusable. Men and women of intelligence and good faith can solve this and should have long ago. But understand, those who try to play at the margin and not recognize first and foremost what is an obligation, and secondly, who is an ally, will not be able to pursue a policy in from the United States that will lead to that resolution. Let me be clear and unequivocal. Israel is our ally. We have an obligation Two, through the United Nations, through whatever organization you want, to make it clear what we will or will not accept, and then move forward. But one thing that shouldn't be sacrificed in any way whatsoever is the interest and the security of the State of Israel. What concerns me right now is we have an administration, I think, playing a bit at the margin. Perhaps more than a bit at the margin, but we're going to find out more when he gets to Europe this week, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm gonna offer up two more questions for you.
I don't know what she said.
I think she's very passionate about
That's
it.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, I want everybody to be passionate about their countries, and this one too. Let me be clear. That relationship between Israel was founded because of, for many reasons and many factors, influenced its creation. But don't ever forget, a fellow by the name of Truman signed the order recognizing the State of Israel in 20 minutes in 1948. I don't like anyone to ever forget our history. I don't like it when people talk about reparations and redistribution and talk about white guilt, because we have a media and a political structure that is permitted in this 21st century millions of people, younger generations who apparently don't even know, that 300,000 Americans died in the Union Army fighting to end slavery. I believe that a sense of perspective and proportion as we examine history and begin to look at public policy is critical. And I would urge everyone to think about what a great country this is, and however difficult and imperfect we sometimes are deemed, we sure do try. And I don't know of another country that has tried as hard as we to overcome our imperfections and try to build the country that we have.
I guess I can give you this question, which is so open-ended that you can just take your time in answering it. Is there hope for our country, and what do we need to do?
We need to quit talking about hope. We need to, I'm very serious about this, the audacity of hope. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? That sold like hotcakes, didn't it?
Yeah.
Where's the audacity now? Where is the hope? Folks, we're grown-ups, as best I can tell every person in this room. We've got obligations, we've got responsibilities, and we were handed, oh my God, the hope. Every person in this room was handed the strongest military power on the face of the earth. Every person in this room was handed a country that had the strongest economy on the face of the earth. And somehow, some way, somebody has encouraged us to get in a circle, hold hands, move to a dark corner, and occasionally suck on our thumbs and talk about hope. What in hell did you need to inherit to get to work and make this a better world for our children? I'm asking you, from the bottom of my heart, stop with the hope nonsense. Let's get to work. Where's the plan? Where is the vision about what this country will be in 10 years, and how are we going to get there? The election of 2008 didn't include one single statement from a single candidate about what he or she would do to assure the prosperity of this nation, its peace, and its advancement, and secure this country for the next generation of Americans. Where the hell is that discussion? The hell with hope. Let's get to work, and let's do so according to a plan. And we've got a great blueprint. It's called the Constitution.
Yeah.